Alright, so hey everybody, it's your old buddy Sean here in Changzhou. Here I decided to come down to the theater where they're, there's my shoulder over here, right over here. It's right across from the Changzhou Museum too. Gotta get in that museum. There you go. Anyway, I thought I'd come down here and talk a little bit about the know why of it, you know. So I was watching this documentary on snow monkeys. Of course, we all know that we're referred to as white monkeys in China, and it was kind of interesting because in the snow monkey sort of hierarchy, it's always the queen monkeys that kind of dictate the status of the males, and that's so prevalent in Chinese sort of culture in terms of how they delineate status in this country. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, it's worth checking out if you're interested in see how some communities come together and distinguish themselves. Anyway, so I wanted to come down here and show you the theater there that they're building up for this Christmas performance that I'm going to do. And the other night I went out with a couple girls and we went around the houses, homes, and here in Changzhou. Some of the students brought them a Christmas gift. We had to dress up as Santa. And you know, I've spoken before about my feelings about having, in my opinion, it's a bit pressing their luck in terms of what they're asking for us to do for this Christmas performance. It's not just a school play, you know. If they're going to have it in a venue like this, it's quite a different standard of expectations, and to not differentiate between those standards, you know, it kind of tells you a lot about pretensions and the extent that people will go to extract value out of value, basically. There's no reason for it to be in this kind of a venue. There's absolutely no reason for it to be in this kind of venue. But they're asking us English teachers, which we were hired as English teachers, to do full days of classes. That's 8 hours of classes, and then get to this theater within an hour, have no dinner, and then stand at the doorway to greet the kids and the parents entering the theater. And they were expected to give a performance of some sort of substantiality on a professional stage, on a stage that is shared with international artists and professional actors, and they expect us to do this just as English teachers, you know, not as set designers, not as costume designers, not as script writers, not as acting coaches, any of that, you know. Basically, you have English teachers fulfilling all of those duties, on top of keeping track of students' English proficiencies, you know. It's quite outrageous, you know, and honestly, this company is really pressing their luck in those terms. And it all goes into that sort of like, we're trying to establish a new sort of hierarchy, you know, and we're going to use pretensions to do that. And the idea of sexual consent, definitely sort of their sort of their greatest sort of asset at this point. And you can see that influence in American culture, and it's really one that's got to be like diminished, dismantled. It's ruinous to America's future to have that sort of monkey sort of precedence in your culture. It's just not American. It's quite un-American. Or it's quite primitive. Let's not even say American. It's too primitive for our species. Anyway, so anyway, we did go out and do the Santa things, and you know, to be fair, I ended up going to maybe some of the poor houses, maybe, you know, not the people with a lot of money, just kind of your average, I guess your Chinese people who live in their spaces, and you don't see a lot of decorum. It's not Martha Stewart living. That basically their homes are functional, and you realize that they don't really, they have a lot of aspirations, and it was quite heartwarming to see the children that did respond to the visit as something special, who did kind of feel that maybe there was a hope for it. I had one girl who seemed very thrilled to see me, and I got to watch her play piano, and of course I'm watching her play piano in a very cramped room where piano is going to be very loud in terms of her neighbors, in terms of people living around her. If you know the volume of the piano, that this was probably an instrument that was not well liked amongst her neighbors. But she played her piano, and she played it very well. I'm not going to diminish her. If I got on that piano, I would have humiliated myself. But she played well. But I have this I've had pianos before, and I know the burden of having pianos, and I would never have considered buying a piano for a child and moving into such a place, because it's just not practical. It's like if you ever had to move a piano, the nightmare that it entails. It's a permanent sort of place, and it requires a lot of maintenance. It requires a lot of sort of preparation. And so I was a bit surprised to see a piano, to be honest with you. Another girl played the accordion for me, also very amazing, kind of exceptional. But along with that feeling, and I'm a person who has kind of a two sides to every coin attitude, and you don't really know what's beautiful until you know what's ugly, and you don't really have knowledge of either until you recognize both, in all things. If you can't see beauty in all things, then you'll never know beauty. But if you can't see ugliness in all things, you also can't know beauty, and that's vice versa. So anyway, that being said, I somewhat felt that maybe like that is being done to impress and to get out of the situation, like these young children are there to woo Western sentiments and get themselves more situated in them and their families eventually into a situation that is more advantageous for that family. And so the need to impress others, especially through foreign sentiments, is a way of sort of attracting that sort of interest, attracting that sort of influence also. So you also recognize that kind of goes hand in hand with it as it progresses or as it develops. So yeah, we went out and I don't mind it so much. Like dress up as Santa is not really that humiliating to me, to be honest with you. But and it's not about humiliation, really. To me, it's about like you're just kind of stretching the limits of you're stretching the limits of my value, of my potential. You're stretching the limits of my ability to succeed and do my job correctly, or do the job I was under the impression I was here to do, And certainly if you look at my contract and you go over the line of it, it's even under those terms, even under like what's written, it's a bit of a stretch to say, yeah, this kind of just falls under that category. Because it doesn't, by all means, you can't be asking people to do full days of classes and hold Broadway productions in their spare time, You just don't do that, Unless you really, you do that if you think you are able to do that. And the point is to restrict people from doing such things, Anyway. So that's that. I just kind of want to come out here. Yes, I'm wearing my mask here. I sound like Bane. Pardon? Yeah, I look like Bane, I look like Darth Vader in this thing, but, you know, the air never felt cleaner, you know, and once again, you'll see a lot when the levels today, the rating today is up in close to 200. It's a sunny day, sure. You can see a dust in the air, though. It's definitely sort of cloudy on the ground. It's 200, which is unhealthy, and you know, a lot of Chinese would just wear those like doctors' masks, you know, because it's somewhat fashionable. It makes them look like doctors, I guess. And that's more fashionable than looking like somebody who works on a construction site. But like, this is like concrete dust in the air. At 200, you're talking about large particles. And having worked in construction and breathed in this kind of stuff, you know, I know how unhealthy it is. I know how my body just kind of lacks, just feels sluggish, and so this makes the air clean, you know, and it definitely feels sweeter. I can tell a difference in my disposition, and my health has improved. The coughing goes away. So, you know, I kind of say screw you if you get all your panties in a wad because you don't look like doctors wearing these things. I say screw you, you know, definitely screw you, because you don't give a shit about my lungs. You don't give a shit about me for the most part. So I really could care less about your pretensions, you know. So that's it. I'll kind of sign off. This is No Why. See you next time. Keep watching. Keep watching. No, keep watching. There it is.